Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's tutorial basically we'll be learning how to sew a 180 flare skirt and a blouse that has a rope at the side. Now if this is a video you're interested in, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. So basically for this tutorial, I'll be making use of this material you see over here with a matching zipper for the skirt. I have about 4 yards of this material here. Now you can actually use to substitute this material for any kind of material you have, be it Ankara or any type. So but for me, I'll be making use of this Ankara and I have 4 yards. So it's okay to have 4 yards to be on a safer side, especially if you are on a medium to large size. So after that, the first thing I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is to fold this material in a triangular shape, because we'll be cutting our skirt first. So I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that I fold it. Just watch the way I'm doing. I will hold on to this tip and fold it all the way to this way to actually get this shape that I want. So this is what it should be looking like after folding it. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin this down in order to avoid it moving from the place I want it to be. After pinning these sides down, I'll just make sure that the half part of this folded edge is actually the part that is upward, so that I can actually see where my measurements stop. So I'm just going to go ahead and move it the way that I want it to be. I don't know if you can understand. Just make sure that this open edge is actually on the top part of your skirt. So now after pinning it down, I'm just going to go ahead and arrange this over. So the table was not actually giving us exactly what we wanted, so I had to bring the fabric to the floor. So after folding it, the next thing I'm going to do now is the round waist measurement I'm working with is actually 32 inches. So I'm going to divide 32 inches into 4, and it's 8 inches. So from this place that I already pinned, this open edge, I'm actually going to measure the round waist measurement divided by 4, which is the 8 inches I told you about. And I will be adding extra 2-inch allowance for the sewing. Now the 2 inch is optional. You can choose to add extra 3-inch or 1, depending on what you want to work with. So from here, I'm just going to measure in the 2 inches plus 8 inches, that's 10 inches in total, and I'll make sure that the 10 inches is fitting here, which I'll go ahead and mark. So I marked it. After that, I'm just going to go ahead and measure from this tip to the measurement that I have earlier, which is 12.5 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead and take 12.5 inches all the way round, just like you see me doing here. This is to avoid it from being straight. Let it give us a curvy waistline. So this is actually it. Now, actually for the length of this skirt, I've actually been working with length 48 inches. So after getting the round waist measurement, I'm just going to go ahead and place my tape from here to get the full measurement of this skirt that we are working with. So we are working with length 48 inches. So I'm just going to measure it all the way around. So I have 47 inches here. So I'll just make use of the whole dress. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark the full length all the way around, just like we did before. After marking the full length of this skirt, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. This is what our front piece is looking like, just as you can see. So this is actually what it's going to be looking like. So the next thing we are going to go ahead and do right now is to cut the back piece of our skirt. So after I went ahead to fold the down piece of this skirt, I'm just going to go ahead and place the front piece that we had earlier on top of the skirt. So I'm just going to go ahead and place it and make sure that it is equal on both sides. So I'll just go ahead and place it. Now remember that the skirt part is going to have a zipper. So remember also that I added 2-inch allowance to the front piece. So we are just going to make the front and the back piece equal. After which I will slit the front side open for the zipper, then take away 1 inch away from the front skirt. I don't know if you understand. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this all the way down. So after cutting it out, I'm just going to go ahead and remove the front piece. After which I'm just going to slit the back piece open. I'm going to slit it from the center because we'll be attaching a zipper to it. So I'm just going to slit the center open. So this is actually the two back piece. So I will just make sure that I notch the zipper area for us to be able to identify the side that we'll be attaching our zipper to. So I'll just go ahead and notch it. Then this is the back piece of our skirt and this is the front piece. Now we are going to put this aside and draft the upper body for this dress. So for the drafting of the upper body of this skirt, which is a blouse, I'll be making use of this paper right here and it's already on fold. So the first thing we are going to be drafting is our back piece. Now you want to determine the length of the blouse you want, but definitely it should be a crop top so that it will actually look like a gown when you tie it. So for me, I'll be working with 18 inches. My half length is 16 inches. I just went ahead to add extra 2 inches for the folding and the finishing. So you can choose to add more determining how down you want your own blouse to be. So I'll be working with 18 inches. I'll just go ahead and mark 18 inches all the way down to the side of my paper and I will extend the line. After which, remember we are drafting the back pattern first. After which, I'll just go ahead and input my body measurement. Now, the upper blouse is not going to be having a zipper because it's a free wear. So we are just going to go ahead and insert our measurement. Now, the shoulder measurement I'm working with is 16 inches. 16 inches divided by 2 is 8 inches. Now, from this folded edge, I'll just go ahead and mark my shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. Now from that place I will also divide my armhole measurement into two. Armhole measurement I'm working with is also 16 inches. So 16 inches divided by 2 is actually 8 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark 8 inches and extend the line. So after extending the line, I'm just going to go ahead and input my bust point line. The bust point I'm working with is 10 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark 10 inches and also mark my waistline, which is 16 inches. So I'll just go ahead and extend the lines. This is my bust point line. This is my waistline and this is my full length. So for the neck area, for it to be able to pass through the head, since it does not have a zipper, I'll be doing 4 inches by width with 3 inches depth. So that's what I'll be working with. Now you can choose to determine how you want your neck area to be, whether you want it a V shape, is all up to you. But for me, I'll be doing the normal neck pattern. But whichever neck pattern you're doing, just make sure that it will be able to pass through your head. Now for our shoulder slope, at the shoulder line, I'll be coming down by 1 inch to create our shoulder slope, and I'll be connecting this 1 inch all the way to the neck width that we have earlier. So for our armhole curve, you know the normal pattern we do. You divide the remaining one you have here, minusing the one shoulder slope inch that you have here. So I'll be dividing this 7 into 2, which is 3.5. I'll mark it down. At the point that I marked the 3.5, I'll be coming out by half of an inch. Then I will go ahead and connect this half of an inch all the way to this 1 inch that I have here, just like you see me doing. Now I'll go ahead and divide my round bust. The round bust I'm working with is 36 inches. 36 inches divided by 4 is 9.5 inches. So I'll just go ahead and impute 9.5 inches at this armhole line that we have here. So I'll impute 9.5 inches and mark it down. So after that, I'll also impute the 9.5 inches that we have for our round bust measurement on our bust point. I'll mark down the 9.5 inches, and I'll be adding extra 2 inch allowance depending on how many allowance you want to work with. Now for it to be freer, just like I told you, is a free dress, instead of adding 2 inch allowance, I'll be adding extra 3 inch, in the sense that I'll be using 1 inch for the sewing and leaving the 2 extra inch for making it to be free. So I'll just go ahead and mark 3 inches allowance. So I'll go ahead and divide my round waist. My round waist, which is 32, 32 divided by 4 will actually give us 8 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark 8 inches on the waistline and add the extra 3 inch allowance that I'm working with. Now I'll also go ahead and extend the same measurement to our full length. So after that, I'll just go ahead and connect the lines. Now for this armhole place, I'm going to connect this half of an inch all the way down to this round bust measurement that we got earlier with our curve ruler, just like you see me doing here, to create our armhole curve. Now after that, I'll go ahead and connect the measurements that we had earlier. So technically, this is what it's looking like. So I'll just go ahead and cut this open. Now we are going to be using this pattern to cut our front and our back piece together. Please do remember to add half of an inch sewing allowance on your shoulder slope for you to be able to join your shoulders. So basically, this is what our top is looking like. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut out the back piece first before cutting out the front piece. So I'll just go ahead and fold my fabric into two. After folding my fabric into two, I'm just going to go ahead and place this pattern paper that we have here on it. We are cutting our back piece first, so I'll just place the pattern paper on top of our folded clothes, and I'm just going to go ahead and pin this down. Now basically, after cutting out the back piece, this is what our back piece is looking like. I'm just going to go ahead and unpin this pattern paper that we have here, unpin it away from the main fabric, and I'll go ahead and place this aside, just like you see me do here. Now for the front piece, It's going to have an opening at the center part of it for us to be able to attach the rope that you see at the thumbnail there. So for the front piece, we are going to go ahead and subtract 1 inch first. Now this 1 inch is for the folding allowance of the down part, so we'll subtract the 1 inch. Then from this 1 inch, I'm just going to go ahead and go up by 4 inches. Now the 4 inches now is still optional. You can choose to go up more or do lesser depending on how open you want yours to be. So for me, I'll be going up from this 1 inch that I subtracted there. I'll be going up by 4 inch. So I'll go ahead and mark the 4 inch here. Now at the 1 inch, I'll go in by about 2 inches or one, depending on what you want. So I'll just go ahead and go in by 2 inches is a little bit for me. Okay, let me do 1.5 inches. So I'll go in by 1.5 inches. I'll mark 1.5 inches here. So I'll just go ahead and connect this 1.5 inches all the way to the tip of this 4 inches that I went up by. Just look at the way I am doing it. So basically, this is what it should be looking like when you're done. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut this off. So after cutting it off, opening it up, this is what our front piece is going to be looking like. So the next thing we are going to go ahead and do right now is to use this piece to cut out our front pieces. So after cutting out the front pieces, this is what it should be looking like. Opening it up, you should have something like this. So the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is to cut a facing for the front neck area and a facing for this center part too, and also a facing for the back neck area. So after cutting out the facing, I'll just go ahead and turn it with the facing all over. Then I'll be right back. So technically, after I was done facing the back neck area, this is what it is looking like. I also went ahead to fold the edge, and also I did the same thing for the front neck area. I went and turned it over with a facing. Now, if you notice, I did not face the center part of this front because we need to attach our band to it before facing the center. So the next thing we are going to do now is to go ahead and cut out the band. Now for the length of the band, it determines how wide your waist area is. For me, I'll be going with band okay, I have about 48 inches here. So I'll be working with 48 inches by length, and the width of the band should be I have 4 inches here, so I'll be sewing with half of an inch. That means I'll be left with 3.5. Now if you want yours to be wider, you can choose to add more inches to it. So for this one, my fabric wasn't enough, so I'm just going to go ahead and join it to make sure I get a very long rope. Now for the band, the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and right side facing on each other. I'm just going to go ahead and place it this way. Use about quarter of an inch to sew one of the edge close, then sew by the sides too. Then I'm just going to go ahead and flip it over to the right side, and I will iron it out. Then after that, we'll be attaching it to our upper body. I actually went ahead to flip our band after sewing it up, and this is what it is looking like. So this is what our band is looking like. Now I'm just going to go ahead and bring over the front piece of our top, just like you see me do over here. And I'm just going to go ahead and place the band by the sides of the open edges that we have at the center. Just watch what I'm doing. Now remember that this band, one edge is closed and the other edge is open. So we are going to go ahead and place the open edge at this point. So you just make sure that the open edge is at this point. Remember, we folded the down part first. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin this down and also do the same thing for the other side. So I'll go ahead and pin it down. Use the other band too to place on the other side and also pin it down. So after pinning it down, this is what I have left, and I'm going to bring out the facing I already cut out for this center part, and I'm just going to go ahead and place it right side facing each other, just like you see me do here. So this is what it should be looking like. Now I'm going to go ahead and use about half of an inch or quarter of an inch, depending on what you can work with. I'm going to use it to sew from this edge now all the way down to this other edge. And I'm going to go ahead and iron it inside. So as you can see right now, I'm actually done stitching down the facing that I had to cut earlier for the front piece and sewing it down. This is what it is looking like. So as you can see, the front piece is looking all neat and all that. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and place the back piece that we have earlier here, right side facing each other this way. And I'm going to use about half of an inch to join the shoulders and use 1 inch to join the sides. After which I will go ahead and attach this basic sleeve that I cut out earlier. Now the sleeve is still optional. You can choose to do any sleeve pattern of your choice. But for me, I'm actually doing a basic sleeve. So I'm just going to go ahead and attach it to the blouse. After I went ahead to join all the blouse, like I said earlier, this is what I am left with. As you can see, this is the open edge where you have to cross side your belt and tighten it up, and this is what the back is looking like. So now we are done for the blouse of this skirt. Now for the skirt, I'm just going to go ahead and measure around the waist area. This is the front piece, so I'm just going to go ahead and measure the waist area that we had before, because we'll be attaching a band to this skirt, about 2 inch width band. So I'm just going to go ahead and measure it round and cut a band for the front piece and also a band for the back piece. So after measuring the front and back skirt, I went ahead to cut out the band. So this is the band for the front piece and this is the band for the back piece, because they are actually separate on its own. So I'm just going to go ahead and notch the center of our front skirt piece to get the center. So I'm going to go ahead and open it to the right side, then bring the front band that we cut earlier, just like you see me doing here. I'm going to place it this way. It's already on the right side, so you face it right side facing each other, so making sure that it's actually at the center too. So I'm just going to go ahead and stitch about, use about half of an inch to join the band all the way down to the skirt and opening it up. This is what it's going to be looking like, and I'll also be attaching these back bands to the back piece. Now for the width of the band, you can choose to make yours bigger too, but for me I did 2.5 inches. Sewing with half inches, I'll be left with 2 inches in total. And I also applied stay to the band to make it a little bit stronger. But if you don't have stay, you can just go ahead and cut your band the way it is. So I'll go ahead and attach the bands to the skirts. So technically, I'm done attaching the bands to our skirt, both the front piece and the back piece, as you can see. So the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do now is to impute our back skirt zipper. Now remember that we notched the sides that will be attaching the zipper, so make sure you take note of it. So I'm going to go ahead and place it right side facing each other, just like you see me doing here. This is the back skirt and these are the two pieces. So I'm just going to go ahead for the zipper. I'll go ahead from the waistline. I'll be measuring down 10 inches or 9 inches, depending on what your waist to hip length is. So for me it's actually 10 inches, so I'll go ahead and measure in 10 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark this 10 inches because that's where our zipper will be stopping. Then from the 10 inches I'll go ahead and use the same 1 inch I'll be using to impute the zipper to run it all the way down to the end of this skirt. I don't know if you understand. So I'll go ahead and attach my matching zipper to the skirt. So after attaching the zipper, just like I showed you earlier, this is what the back piece is looking like. As you can see, this is the zipper and I had to join the sides. And I also went ahead to shaping our skirt by the side. I imputed my round waist measurement and I just had to shaping it, and voila, this is what our skirt is looking like. And that will be the end of this tutorial. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. See you in our next video. Bye.